says, uh,
Either
I'm
way,
gonna
you're
do it
recording.
again down on Zoom just to make sure. But thank you. Maybe we will
I
have two recordings, which is better than zero. All right. Sorry about that. Let me continue. So what I was showing you is a chart of how Mendful fills the gaps in what's available. I'm just going to let you take this in as opposed to walking through it, but please speak up if you have any questions. And then I'm going to drill down a little bit into AI. Cultural relevance. What do I mean by that? I mean that if somebody has a conflict, it might be helpful to them to have a human conflict resolution coach who understands something about their world, whether it's their ethnicity, their religion, their age, their sexual orientation, and they might feel safer. They might be feel better understood by someone who's lived their experience. AI can't provide that. And of course, AI doesn't provide love. Here are some early screens. When you download Mendful, it will look something like this. And the customer is going to have a choice to talk to either a human coach or Mendy, our AI coach, or to browse our library of videos where we'll have eventually, we hope, a range of videos dealing with both everyday issues and big topical issues. Like I facilitated a discussion a few months ago with an Israeli Jew and an American Jew about their very different views on Israel and Palestine, or a Democrat and a Republican, things that lots of people may be able to relate to. And we're working on the business model, but right now it's freemium. People can have their first 20 minutes free, and then it's billed by the minute. And now I'm going to show you what it can look like if you're working on the app. So I'm the only real person here, meaning everybody else here is made up for illustrative purposes. When you work on the app as a Mendful conflict resolution coach, you'll have the opportunity to build your own profile, and we will encourage the coaches to specialize. For example, Jamal focuses on being a friendship whisperer to help friends who have come apart come back together. He's been called this his whole life. He's away, but you can schedule a session with him. Mine is green because I'm available and you could connect with me now. Michael runs men's groups and is known for helping men reconnect with their hearts. Sandra helps to bridge the gap between Asian moms and daughters and immigrant families where there's intergenerational conflict. The sky's the limit here. You know, whatever kind of coach or helper you are, whatever kind of specialization you have, there are going to be people out there who will be very grateful to see that you specialize in what they are struggling with. When you click on the bio of any of these coaches, you'll get a more expanded bio, which can be expanded even further if you click a little down arrow. You can meet the person in a video and see anything, any part of their platform that they've built on the Mendful app, like blog posts, recorded sessions, of course, with the client's permission, podcast seminars, and so on, and then the client's feedback. We're also playing around with some interactions where the client will be able to interact with the coach, can help with it being a small screen, can help with neurodivergence and that sort of thing. And when you join this first cohort in February, it is a very abbreviated, intensive cohort. It's also going to have the opportunity, the members of that cohort, to help shape what the app looks like. Hey, I don't think that button belongs there. Could you create a this or that kind of function? There will be those opportunities. Any questions about any of that before I go on?
are these volunteer coaches?
Oh, no, no. This is part of our mission is to provide right livelihood in a very as nice of a one as we can manage to do. So these are all, this is,
So this is the business app or the
yeah,
business?
Jill, I have a question. So this
yeah.
is addressing conflict. A client logs on and selects the appropriate coach. Does it include or incorporate the third party ever?
Yes. So there's a number of different use cases. A use case is a circumstance. the circumstance in which somebody approaches. They may approach the app just for themselves. They want help to get ready for a tough conversation that they're about to have with someone, or a conversation that keeps happening over and over with a friend or a spouse or a family member, and someone can coach them one-on-one. They also have the opportunity to not browse, which they just give me someone right away, just like an Uber. If they want to, they can browse, but obviously that would take longer. Maybe they want the help right away and they want the first person available. Did I answer your question?
Sorry, I can be more specific. So if it's a conflict involving, as it usually is, another
Oh,
person.
right. So in
Mhm.
that case, there's three different cases, and those also branch off. I'll try to be brief. Either the person is with the other person there together, and they get onto the same device, sit next to each other on their laptop, or the person is somewhere else, and they're either willing because they've talked about it, or they don't know. They don't know what's about to happen. And so in that case, the app will send that person an invitation. Hey, Debbie, Jill wants to resolve a conflict with you. And probably they're going to go, what the heck is this? And we'll help them figure that out. And then they can either learn more, they can peruse videos, they can say maybe later, they'll have all the choices, or they can say, do not ever contact me again, in which case we will not ever contact them again. We'll say, come back to the person and say, we're really sorry. They're not willing right now. However, we can help you deal with that. How did I do that time? Did that answer your question?
It did. Thanks.
Oh, good. All right, let's go on. I want to
Just
talk
real,
about, sorry, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. Just real quick. So you're saying basically through this app, you can do conflict coaching, right?
Mhm.
And then you can also actually do mediation.
Yes. Yes. We're not calling it mediation because
Okay.
9 out of 10 people reading the word mediation think it says meditation. And
All
also,
right.
mediation has associations with the legal adjacent and the transactional. So we're calling it conflict coaching. Mendful coaches or conflict resolution coaches. That could evolve over time, but that's after thinking about it and researching it, that's kind of where we land. But yes, for those of you in the know, it basically is mediation.
Okay.
Jill,
Thank you.
Yeah.
hi, this is Christy from
Hi,
What is
Kristen.
Love,
Hi.
calling in from Santa Barbara. And we approach conflict through a restorative lens. And I'm
Yes.
wondering if, how that fits into your model.
Yes. We also approach conflict through a restorative lens and specifically through a mind, body, emotion, spirit approach, which I'm about to talk about. Anything else about the app before we go on to what Christy is leading us into, which is exactly what we're going towards? Okay, so a key theme of the Mental Core Competencies immersion training is what I call internal reference. We are looking at many practices and lenses of internal reference. Nonviolent communication is a linguistic practice of internal reference. Some of the embodied work we do will help people to get physically and emotionally internally referenced. We go into this more in the fourth workshop of the series called Philosophies. What's it called? Concepts, models, and philosophies. But I want to explain it briefly here. Most of our conditioning in the United States of America teaches us to externally reference reality, citing authority, following a leader, um, conforming to what is right, is a reference outside of ourselves. And those external references, many of them are needed. We need traffic lights to help us know when it's time to stop or go. We need laws to be safe, and so on. It's the mechanism, it's the automatic internal reference, which it turns out is built into our language, that gets in our way when we try to resolve conflict. Restorative practices, NVC, wisdom of the body, which we draw, and all help the practitioner to themselves become internally referenced and in turn transmit a field of internal reference to the session. And I'll talk more about that and help the clients to get internally referenced, because two people who are connected at the heart, whose insides are feeling each other, can't argue. So wisdom of the body is a practice that I developed between 2013 and 2018. And it uses mind, body, spirit, and emotion, somatic or body-based foundations, which I then parlayed into the groundwork for Mendful conflict resolution. When I trained people in these practices, a lot of what we did, surprise, surprise, was conflict resolution. Because number one, so much of our pain in the world expresses itself in conflict, whether it's in conflict with ourselves or in conflict with someone else. And from the reverse side, when we go into a conflict, slow it down and excavate what's actually coming up for us, that's such a beautiful, rich, robust ground for helping to rewire our nervous systems, for learning about our triggers, for generic personal growth. And it helps us to rewire how we show up in that conflict. So briefly, some of those practices are something called being witness, which if you've done meditation will probably not be foreign to you, but I don't take it from any meditation tradition. It's simply how we hold one's own and others' emotions and putting attention to whether we're in pattern or in presence. You know, we're wired for this naturally, and animals do it with each other really well. A somatic model of a resource system, which I'm going to go into. NBC, I mentioned the linguistic models to get underneath the stories, interpretations, and judgments and translate them and carry those translations back and forth to one another, which is basically classic nonviolent communication mediation. And when I say spiritual, I don't mean any particular religion. I don't mean anything, quote unquote, woo, although that's welcome to put, that's what is meaningful for you, any of those. But rather, I mean in the realm of values and purpose, really alignment and shared humanity that guides how we want to show up in conflict. So if I had to distill the spirit part of it, I'd say it has to do with alignment. So before you ask questions, let me go on because I think I'll clarify. We're going to drill down into this, the somatic model for resource system. What the heck does that mean? Really, it means embodying a coherent field, creating our physical instrument as a space for resourced conflict resolution. And so here, I call it me-source. This comes from Linda Cicera's energy class, so the diagram is mine. When we are resourced, we can, before I explain, I want to just ask, does this look familiar to anyone? What do you feel in your body when you see it? What do you notice about this image?
I
Can you
noticed that it's
repeat
heart-centered.
everything?
What's that? Yeah, heart-centered. Okay. What else do you notice?
It feels what's the word? Encapsulated.
Encapsulated. Yeah, there's an edge to it, right?
Right.
I would say it's floating.
Like it's floating. Thank you for telling me that. I hadn't noticed that before, but really what I want to emphasize here at the bottom is that when we ground, when we feel deep down into our connection with the earth, we can mitigate a sense of floating. I have tended to leave my body right out my head and be somewhere in the ether, and being able to have the skill of grounding has been really helpful to me and to whoever I'm working with. I was telling Paula, I think yesterday, a spontaneous mediation within my family for a very intense issue. And I was scared, and I felt myself, I felt my patterns pulling me to manage my anxiety by doing things that wouldn't be useful to the people in the conflict. And so I used my practice of grounding to stop myself and to keep myself in my body, to realize that this was not me, that was theirs. And some people say, oh, but why do we have to be so boundaried? Why do we have to do things like this? Because we're all one. Yes, on some level, And if you're driving a car on the freeway, you better know where your car ends and other people's begins so that you don't get into an accident. And it's the same with this work. We need to not be using other people to manage our own anxieties, the shorthand for it. So one of the presuppositions of the training is that we all already know a lot of this. And I think with the techniques and the methods and the lenses and the philosophies, it's easy to get caught up into our heads and try to do a thing in the middle of a mediation. However, people already know a lot of this in their bones and in their bodies. It's something I want to validate. And so what happens sometimes is with techniques, we're not aware, we don't know what we don't know. And then when we learn something, we're doing the thing to someone else, but we're not doing it well. And then we're doing it well, but we're still doing the thing. Like I've seen NVC teachers of mine doing their modality in the moment where someone else is on the verge of tears and they're not tuning into them. And that's where a modality, a method, or a lens can fly in the face of, become counter to what we're actually trying to do, which is be in a flow state where we're really being with someone and they don't even notice. They don't even notice that they're being facilitated because their humanity is flowing. They're connecting with their heart. So in the training, we're going to play around with leaping right into that flow state and using, instead of having the modalities and the approaches and the philosophies and be the thing that keeps us down in this lower right quadrant, we're going to bring them in to the field and let them flow through us as needed. Okay. So what this could look like is, let's say I'm doing a conflict resolution session on the app. I've got these approaches in my body. I am transmitting an internally referenced field that will in turn help clients settle their nervous systems and move from polarization to connection. We're in a flow. All right, let's hold questions till the end, and we're going to go right into this exercise. Remember what you wrote down before? So here's what the exercise is going to be. And Hallie, I'm going to ask you to demonstrate with me. We'll put you in pairs and just let Hallie know if you don't want to be in a pair. And one of you will be the coach and one of you will be the client. The client is the one who will speak first about your conflict. And you'll speak for 3 minutes. And then for 2 minutes, you'll give the coach feedback on how they did. And then the coach will get another chance to be your coach. And as a coach, you simply listen and ask, tell me more about that. Or if you know how to, you can give a guess. Sounds like you were feeling sad. Were you feeling anxious? And clients, just note the coach's level of presence and anything that they were doing that didn't feel like it was being present to you. Like they were scrunching up, or I'll do a demonstration. I'll make it really easy to identify. So again, for 3 minutes, the client will speak about the conflict or any conflict that you chose in the exercise. The coach will listen. And then after 3 minutes, you'll tell the coach what that was like. Yeah, I really thought you listened to me, or oh, it seemed like you were kind of distracted. And then the coach will get a chance to try again. So, Hallie, will you demonstrate this with me? And Debbie, can you make us what it's called feature?
Oh, I'm not a host this time.
Oh,
Or
all right.
co-host.
Let me make you a co-host. Hang on 1 second. There we go. But we'll start it anyway. So, Hallie, why don't you tell me about your issue, and I'm going to be the coach.
Okay.
We'll just do this really quickly.
So there is a car attached to a boat that has been parked on my street for ever. And it's a small street, so it's
Oh, you have a car in a small street?
no, not exactly. A car is
Oh, sorry.
parked
Okay.
with a boat on a small street, and it's hard to get past them, and it's frustrating. And every time I look at it, I get annoyed.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you're frustrated and you're annoyed.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
So I guess you might see that I'm exaggerating. So, Hallie, can you give me some feedback on my coaching of you? Like,
Yeah, it just felt like felt like Jill wasn't listening. She looked off to the side. She was looking at her nails. She would interrupt and be like, oh, I listened to that last part. Let me repeat back to you exactly what you said.
all right. And can you do it just a little bit nicer, as if you just met me and you don't want to hurt my feelings too bad?
Sure. I felt like Jill could have been a little more attentive.
Say it to me.
Jill, I wish you could have been a little more attentive to what I was saying.
Thank you. And I could really feel your heart in that feedback. So can I try again?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So there's this car attached to a boat on my street, and it's been there forever. And it's a small street. It's very hard to get past. And if there's two cars trying to pass at that juncture, they can't. And it's very frustrating.
That does sound really frustrating.
Yeah. And I keep looking at that car and that just thinking to myself, what is that person thinking? It's so frustrating to me. But then I think, okay, well, maybe, they don't have any other place to put it. So I'm trying to
Mm.
be understanding.
So it sounds like you're holding in one hand the needs and concerns of whoever put it there, and then the other hand, you're really aware of just how inconvenient it is, and to try to navigate that on a daily basis. Is that close?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, thank you. So we just demonstrated what we're inviting you to do in the exercise, which is for one of you to play the coach and one of you to play the client. And I'm not suggesting that you exaggerate. I'm just showing you what it can be like for someone to give feedback about what wasn't working for them and to try again. Really do want you to try your best. And again, we're going to give you 3 minutes to do the first round, 2 minutes to receive feedback, and 3 minutes to do the second round. And then we'll switch. So each person is going to have 8 minutes total. Okay? So we're going to put you into pairs.
Okay, you can go ahead and join your rooms.
Can you put the instructions in the chat also, just in case we forget? So the 3 minutes and 2 minutes, that whole thing.
Yes.
Sure.
Thank you.
Are you doing that, Hallie?
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
hi, it's Kathleen. Just a reminder, I'm driving.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think I could be in a room right now.
Okay, that's fine.
I think you.
And we will not be recording the breakout sessions. I'm going to pause that.